Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Daily Shooter, and a couple months ago I did kind of a first look and unboxing of some gear from RTS Tactical. I thought it kind of fit the time, you know, we were just getting into the lockdown, things were getting a little bit crazy, and so body armor might be something that people were interested in. They had a really good price on their bundle, and it came with plates, a plate carrier, knee pads, elbow pads, gloves, I mean, you know, the whole deal, and it was at a really good price. So I did that unboxing, but I hadn't tested the armor yet, so I decided to take the armor out, shoot it a bunch, test it, and see how it holds up. So today I'm bringing you guys that test. Now this video is supposed to go a little bit differently. I've actually already shot it once before. I spent about 4 hours out in the desert testing out this body armor, and when I got back, all of my audio was missing along with other reviews that I had worked on the same day. So nothing had audio by the time I got back. It showed feedback on the camera, so it looked like it was recording something. I don't know if it's just a corrupt memory card or what happened, but I have the video footage, just not the audio. So we're gonna go ahead and move the camera, point it to the table so I can show you guys all the impacts, and we'll talk about the different calibers that I use, the distances that we use, the barrel length, and all that stuff. And we'll take a look at the results, and I'll roll in some of the footage from the actual test. So let's go ahead and move the camera, point it down, I'll show you guys what happened. Okay, so here's a closer look at our plate. I went ahead and labeled what each thing was shot with. We have multiple different rifles, multiple different calibers, and we have multiple different bullet weights for each one of the calibers. So this is a look at the plate. You can see right off the bat that nothing went through. So we'll talk about each one and what happened when I shot it and what I used to shoot this with. Everything was shot at 40 yards. Now, this plate right here is a level 3 plate. It's an AR-500 steel plate. When I first got this, I wasn't 100% sure. You know, I'd never seen RTS Tactical before. I'd never used their plates, never shot their plates, anything else. It was just a pure unboxing. I'd never really talked to the guys over there, but since then I have talked to them and found out that the steel that they're using for their plates is actually steel, the same exact steel that they used for a military contract. So finding out that this is a steel that was actually used in the military contract gave me a little bit more confidence when I shot it, because we know that, you know, if it's going to pass military standards, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to pass civilian standards, and it's going to hold up to the abuse that you want to throw at it. So finding out that this is actually used from the same stock that was used for the military contract was something that felt pretty good. So went ahead, took it out, I put it in their plate carrier, and I shot it while it was in the plate carrier. And then when that thing gave out, because I got the one without any spall protection, it has this little cover right here, but as you can see, this is basically just a cover. It's not actually spall protection. It doesn't do anything for spall. If you want to protect against spall, you have to get a nice buildup coating that will contain all the fragments that come off the plate, because when a bullet impacts steel, all those little fragments go shooting out in different directions, and if you don't have the spall protection on there, it's basically just going to get rid of that cover, and it's not going to offer you any protection against spall. So keep that in mind, you know, especially if you're ordering plates, that spall protection is going to protect you a lot more than just a little, you know, thin cover like this. But anyway, now that we know what this is, again, level 3 steel body armor, AR-500 steel, let's talk about what we shot it with and the guns that we use to shoot it. So again, we have two different loads here, two different bullets for the 5.56. We have standard 55 grain full metal jacket, and we also use a 62 grain green tip. Now for the 7.62 by 3.9, we use soft point and we use full metal jacket. Both were tool ammo. I believe it's 123 or 124 grain standard tool ammo. Again, soft point and full metal jacket for that. For the 308, we used a couple different rounds. We had a standard, it's basically like mil-SERP ammo, so it's more like 7.62 by 5.1. And then we also used some gold medal burger, and the reason that I use gold medal burger is because that particular round in 308 is smoking hot. It's a super fast round. I believe it's 175 grains, and it is going so fast that out of all the 308s, it has a better chance of actually penetrating armor than other 308 loads. So if you're thinking about 7.62 by 5.1, 7.62 by 5.1 has a less of a chance due to somewhat slower velocity than some of the more powerful loads that are on the civilian market that they can't use in the military. So we went ahead and we switched between those as well. As far as the rifles that were used, for the 5.56, I went ahead and used a standard 16-inch barrel. It was a Diamondback DB15. And then for the 7.62 by 3.9, we used a 16.5-inch barrel out of an Arsenal SAM 7R. And then for the 308s, we used a 20-inch barrel bolt action. It's a Savage action, and that's what we used for the 308. So 20-inch barrel, 16.5-inch barrel, 16-inch barrel. So that's the different rounds that we used, and that's the different rifles that we used. Now let's go ahead and talk about these impacts. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the impacts and the back face deformation. Now, again, I didn't know what to expect. I had never tested body armor from this company before, so I took it out with several different calibers. Now, we're going to start off with 5.56. There's a lot of people out there that would think that the 62 grain green tip would have a better chance of defeating body armor because it has that little insert, that little steel insert. Well, that's actually not the case. As a matter of fact, a standard 55 grain full metal jacket projectile has a better chance of defeating steel body armor because it's moving much faster. When it comes to steel body armor, it's really speed that kills. When you talk about the 62 grain, yes, it has that little steel core in it. However, it's moving much slower, and that means that it's going to have less of a chance of defeating our steel body armor. When in reverse, when you're talking about polymer or composite body armor, the composite body armor is more likely to be penetrated by a 62 grain green tip, whereas a 55 grain is going to have less of a chance of going through. So we have pretty much exactly what we expected here. We have some small dents, some small divots, really not much. Some of them barely even scratch the surface. I mean, if we look at a few of these different shots here, you can see that really it didn't do all that much. As for the back face deformation on some of these, when it comes to the 5.56, didn't matter if it was a green tip or a standard 55 grain full metal jacket, it really didn't do much. I mean, there's a small little dimple right there and maybe right there, but other than that, I mean, it didn't really affect the back of the plate at all. So as far as the 5.56s go, between those two bullet weights, there was really nothing really to even talk about. So we went ahead and we moved it up to the 7.62 by 3.9. Now when it comes to 7.62 by 3.9, again, you're talking about a slower caliber, right? And it's traveling slower than your 5.56, but at the same time, it's a much bigger projectile, you know, talking about 123, 124 grain projectile. That thing packs a pretty good wallop when it hits something. You know, it has a lot of kinetic energy. There's a lot of energy that's being dumped on the target when it hits, and that's because, you know, you're kind of weighing the two variables, which again is speed and the weight of the projectile, in order to get the amount of energy that's going to be transferred to this plate. But 7.62 by 3.9 out of a 16.5-inch barrel AK really didn't do anything more than your standard 5.56. I mean, it definitely hit harder. You could hear it hit harder. You know, the ding when it hits the steel is going to be a lot harder, but there really wasn't all that much to talk about. To be honest with you, we shot it a couple times and not really all that much happened. So on the back here, you know, we looked at it before. You know, some of the dimples that you see might be from 7.62 by 3.9, but really nothing. I mean, you could maybe feel it if you run your hand over it, but for the most part, didn't really affect the plate at all. So that's when we stepped up to the 20-inch barrel 308. Again, 7.62 by 5.1 for the Milsurp ammo, and then the other stuff that we used was the Federal cartridges. Those are like your gold medal burger and stuff like that, things that are moving significantly faster. And so you could see our 308 hits and the difference that the 308 hit makes. So you could see 7.62 by 3.9 and 5.56, and then you could see our 308s. And the 308s really punched this armor. This one right here was probably the one that was moving the fastest. Again, this is the gold medal burger. This one right here is actually sorry, I'm trying to go back. This is the Spear Gold Dot. Okay, so Spear Gold Dot in 308, and then this right here was our 7.6251. Okay, so that's our 3 hits from the 308. Again, at 40 yards out of a 20-inch barrel. And that hit it really good. I mean, it knocked it out of the park. As a matter of fact, when I had this thing set up with some tape on it, so I just basically used duct tape and I wrapped it around a post in order to hold this thing up, it just knocked it right off, and it knocked it a couple feet back from the stand when I hit it with the 308. So the amount of energy that's being transferred to this plate was incredible. If you can invest in a trauma pad, let's say you're buying this kit right now, but a little bit later you get some extra money, I would get a trauma pad. And what a trauma pad is, it's a pad that fits in behind the armor, and it absorbs some of that kinetic energy. So when the round hits, that energy is going to be transferred directly to your body without a trauma pad. But if you put a trauma pad behind it, it hits the armor, the trauma pad will take a lot of that energy, spread it out amongst your body so that you're not feeling it as much, and that's going to help with heavier calibers like the 308. But the 308 did leave a dimple on the back. Obviously, we have no penetration. Again, this is, you know, budget body armor. I would say it's budget just based on the price, but as far as the quality of the armor goes, seems to be great. Our biggest little dimples, I mean, not even really measurable back face deformation right there. I don't need, yeah, you guys can see. Basically, the biggest dents that we have here are going to be from our 308. And even then, it's still noticeable. I mean, it's just barely anything there. So nothing had a chance of making it through. And to be honest with you, I think I probably could have stood there all day and just shot at this stuff, because it is pretty tough. I mean, when you're talking about AR-500 steel and you want to know if something's going to go through it, I mean, if you buy AR-500 steel to use at the range for target practice, you know, the kind that come in a circle or the shape of a body IPSC target or something like that, and you hang it out, it's the same steel that's used in the body armor. There's really no difference between the shoot steel targets and stuff like that you're going to get, that you're going to wear in your chest. Look at all this that's still on there. But there's really no difference between that and this. So it could take multiple hits, and you can shoot this stuff pretty much all day long. If you're shooting 5.56, it would take a long time before you would degrade the quality of the steel in order to get it to crack, or in order to, you know, pierce it. I've seen videos here on YouTube where people have shot steel hundreds of times and still nothing goes through. So my basic thing for doing this test was to take out a body armor that I have never tested before from a company that I you know, wasn't sure about what product they were offering, and hit it with different calibers so that we could see the effects and the results. And even though I didn't get the video that I wanted, even though I didn't get the audio that I wanted, and even though I didn't get to show you guys exactly what I did out there, still the results speak for themselves, so you guys can see what happened there. So for all those people that went out and bought RTS Tactical body armor in the plate carrier and bought one of those bundles, and you know, you have something in front of you that you don't know, you know, 100% what it's going to take, I can tell you that as far as these three calibers and the 5 or 6 different types of ammo that I used here, it's going to be just fine. It's actually very good body armor. I have no problems with it. So if I get anything else, maybe something that moves really fast, maybe I'll hit this with some 6.5 Creedmoor, maybe a Full Metal Jacket 6.5 Creedmoor. I'll do that as well, and I'll come back to you guys with the results. But so far, everything looks great, and I wanted to share that with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.